Okay, hello, my friends. I am back. And I'm starting to become a little bit more pleased with everything that's going on in my studio. I think that I'm starting to have pretty cool, it's an okay look and feel. I'm liking the quality of my camera, I think, or of the image that I'm getting from my camera. I think I can do better. I want to have like more separation back there. I want it to be a little bit more fuzzy, out of focus behind me, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. And now what I'm starting to think about a lot is, in addition to the sort of audio and video recording tech, I also need to build up a really good workflow, because I don't know about you, but like, this is kind of bad to admit, but I'm kind of lazy, right? If the way that I've set up my studio is I've set it up so that I can go from walking into it and hitting that record button in something like 5 minutes, because I know myself. I don't know if you're like me, but if I have anything that's like a little bit of a barrier, it just means that I'm going to do it less and less often. So for example, if I had to actually put my light on a tripod and like aim it correctly and get the modifier working correctly, I know that that would take too long. And I know that if I had to completely reset my camera and like mount my camera from scratch every single time and like go through the settings, no, I would just be lazy and I wouldn't actually do it. And that's also relax. That's actually also true for my workflow. And so one of the things that's really important to me is to be able to reduce the amount of editing that I have to do. I don't know if you've done much editing, but it's kind of sucky. It's difficult. It can be expensive, especially if you have to use expensive software or if you have to pay somebody to do it. And it can be mega time consuming. It can take so much time, so much time. I think that, I mean, as a rule of thumb, I don't know, I'm calculating here, but I think that for every minute of content that I have, it's like, I want to say almost 10 minutes of editing. That sounds crazy. It can't be that long, but maybe it is. It's like a lot more time to get editing done. So if I can reduce the amount of editing, it's going to have two effects. A, it's going to save me a ton of time in the long run, like a ton of time, but also it's going to remove one of those barriers that I know is going to be a blocker for me actually getting content finished. One thing that I've always really wanted to be able to do is have different scenes, because when I'm doing my content that I do professionally, it's got sort of different aspects to it. And one thing that would be great is if I could show you different things without using editing software. So imagine, what if I was able to just show you, let's say, my computer's background here. Look, it looks kind of weird. I'm going to move it there. So look, now you're looking at what my computer background looks like. You can see what I have even in my calendar. Whoops. I want to come back here. I'd also like to be able to show you, let's say, a website. Here you can see a website. This is a little bit of a spoiler alert. It's for OBS Studio. And OBS Studio is actually how I'm able to do this. What I'm doing right now, you're not going to super be able to see this, is I am hitting literally buttons on my keyboard. So if I hit one, it's not going to do anything because that switches it to the camera. If I hit two, I'm going to sort of like disappear really fast. You'll see me in the corner. Goes to my, my computer's background. If I hit four, then I go to that website, and then I hit one and I come back here. So being able to do that is really great for my workflow, because what it means is I don't have to do so much stuff in post, and I can kind of prepare what I'm going to do. So what I want to do is show you more or less how I set OBS up. But the thing is, I'm not going to show you like every single setting. I might actually do a video like, oh wow, talk about like the world's most boring YouTube video, like some guy talking about his OBS settings. But anyway, the thing with OBS is it can get really deep really fast. It's great because you can very simply get things set up and get going very quickly, but it also has really deep settings. Okay, so here we are. You're looking at my laptop screen, and obviously I'm at the OBS Studio website. I'm not, it's a website. It's fantastic. It's great. You can go look at it yourself. I'm not going to show you too much stuff, but there's a couple interesting things that I want to point out on this website. The first one is that you have 3 versions, Windows, Mac, and if you're, I don't know, one of those people, even a Linux version. So you can download it on everything. The other thing that's good to know is that it is 100% free, because this is an open source project. And I find sometimes the open source projects don't work very well, or they're clunky and weird, but OBS is actually a really pretty good piece of software. So what I did here is I clicked on Mac OS, downloaded it, installed it. There's really absolutely nothing about installing this piece of software that's notable or unusual. And then once you get it installed, you have this. Look at this, my friends. Look at this series of nondescript gray boxes with nondescript white writing on them and then a big giant black box in the middle. Wow, you might be saying this is very impressive. But this is like this is the foundation of what you're going to be able to build on that's going to allow you to create a whole bunch of those different scenes and be able to do what I was just doing with those hotkeys. And also, if you look over here, you have the start recording button. So you can actually record in OBS, which is really powerful, which I'll explain a little bit later. So the first thing you need to know is you have these 4 things on the bottom. You have scenes, you have sources, you have audio mixer, and you have control. So we're going to go from left to right. First, scenes are going to be, once you have everything set up, the most important thing that you're using and the thing that you're probably using the most. I'm going to create a new one. Let's just call it camera. So it's still blank because it doesn't have anything. So this scene is basically what's going to be on the screen that I'm recording to, or if you were somebody on Twitch that was playing video games, you could stream. So the first thing I need to do is add sources to my scene. Scenes are always composed of a bunch of different sources. And you need both video, so I have video capture, I have Mac OS screen capture, that's another form of video. You can even do images, but then you also need audio. And I'm going to do audio first here just because why not? And I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to call it camera audio because I want to be able to record from my camera. And when I hit OK, you have this, this pull down up here, and these are all of the available audio sources. I'm going to choose ZV-E10 because that is my camera. And now when I click OK, watch this, my friends. Down here, I have this camera audio, which I didn't have before. And you can even see the green VU meter bouncing up and down. So that tells me that it's receiving a signal. And so when I record, you'll be able to receive a signal. But you still can't see anything. So let me see. What am I going to do? I am going to add. Why don't we just add a camera so that you can drink in my handsome chiseled features again. So I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to call it camera video, because here's something super important. You should always name everything in OBS something that's very, very simple and something that is very descriptive, because you're going to be making changes as you go. So again, I selected ZV-E10, and now you can look at me. You can see me. So I'm going to hit OK, and let's see what happens. So I gave it that very descriptive name so that it's very easy for me to remember, and I can even glance over at it as I'm recording, and nobody's going to notice, except you guys are going to notice now that you know how I make my videos. Every time I look over and I have this blank expression for a minute because I'm reading something, and I was like, oh, he's trying to figure out what scene he wants to use. So here's the scene. You can see I can drag this around. I can resize it, because for some technical reasons that I might explain in a different video, this is a little bit smaller. The output from my camera is a little bit smaller than what I'm recording at. I'm not going to get into the reasons for that because it's a little bit weird and technical. And what else could we do? Let me just show you what else we could do here. This is going to be very sort of ugly, but it'll show you at least what's going on. I'm going to do, I'll do OBS site. So let me show you how you would add a website. So now you see I lost my, oh, sorry, I did the wrong one. I meant to do here a new source, not a new scene. I'm going to do Mac OS screen capture, and I'm going to call it OBS web. And then what I'm going to do is select display capture, this pull down, and instead I'm going to pick window capture, and now any window that I have on my computer I can select. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this Google Chrome Open Broadcaster software. And now you can see this website. And let me see what happens when I click OK. All right, you still can't see my face, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to send it to the bottom. So that means it's behind this. So, I wouldn't probably actually do this, but now you can see these different elements. And this is the basic idea, is you construct these scenes from these different elements that you can include. So here I have 3 well, I have an audio element and I have two video elements, but you can also include pictures. You could have like a picture on the bottom of the screen that would show your name and have like a little text or something like you see in the news. You could have an animated GIF or GIF. I've done that before. You can add all kinds of different things. And really importantly, what you're going to do is you're going to have multiple different scenes. So now I'm going to just really quickly put together a couple other scenes. I'm going to add existing, so I'm adding an audio source. I'm going to add existing camera audio, so that's really nice. You don't have to remake it every time. Now you can see I'm getting audio. Always remember to do those audio sources. People forget that a lot, and it can be a little bit of a problem. And then I'm going to do this, Mac OS screen capture. I'm going to create new, and I'm just going to say laptop, and I'll click OK, and I'm going to add in display capture and just leave it as display capture. That's going to be my whole screen. It's going to give you that weird, that's actually a type of feedback, and this is a really weird thing, but now what I want is to make it the same size, because you can see it's too zoomed in. So I'm right clicking and I'm going to transform, and I'm going to fit to screen. Don't do stretch to screen, do fit to screen. And so now you can see that. And let me move this off here so it's not doing that. So now you have a nice clean view of what I'm looking at. The real benefit of this is that now when I'm doing my recordings, I can switch between these scenes, and I can set up previously, like with the OBS website, I can set up things that I want to show you, manipulate them, come back to the camera. I can even throw in little elements, and I don't have to do it in post. It's going to save me a lot of time, because doing it in post means you have to find the spot that you needed to edit, you have to make the edit, then you have to save. There's all these steps that you have to do. And if you take the time to set things up, you can be really fast and efficient with OBS. And in fact, as you get used to the way that the scenes and sources work together and creating new scenes and sources, it works really quite effectively. All you have to do is set up your scenes and sources. You have this button down here, start recording, boom, 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 scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, hit stop recording, and then you have that full file that has all of those things on it, and then that's the only thing that you have to deal with in post, and it really helps you to have a more dynamic kind of experience when you're recording. There's even little devices that you can buy that are like launchers. It's like a box with some buttons that you can press for the different scenes, but you don't need that. If you just have a keypad or a keyboard, you can set up something similar to what I have in OBS and make your life easier.